When trying to determine exactly when the speculation for GTA 6 began, there's a pretty obvious place to start, and that is with the release of GTA 5, which was 10 years ago. Which certainly makes me feel old when I say it out loud, but it's true, or almost true anyway. At the time of this video's recording, which is the week of April 17th, 2023, we are about 5 months away from the 10-year anniversary for GTA 5. But people's hope for the next game in the franchise started almost immediately after the game came out, all those years ago. Here is an article from July of 2014, not even a year after GTA 5 released, and already 6 was being speculated to release as early as 2017, which, to be fair, was kind of still the expectation for a lot of franchises back then, especially ones curated by the likes of such studios as Rockstar Games. Alas, those sweet summer children, they couldn't possibly have known that 10 years later we would still be waiting, and by most accounts, we still have several years to go. If those rumors are even to be believed, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Rockstar Games have not confirmed anything regarding the release of GTA 6, but haven't declined coming out with the 6th edition of the hit series. Speaking to Develop Magazine, Rockstar North President Leslie Benzies said, "We've got about 45 years worth of ideas we want to do. We don't know what GTA 6 will be, but we've got some ideas. GTA Online is the focus right now. There ain't no rest between finishing 5 and then online. Plus we have some other things, stuff, DLC, I don't know how to describe it exactly, that we'd like to do, and we'll pick the right ones." Well, I think we all know how that turned out. For those who don't though, Leslie Benzies was arguably the most important person behind the personality of the GTA series, and if not the most important, inarguably one of the most important. This article was posted on July 8th of 2014, which means that it was only months after giving this statement to the gaming press that Benzies would go on sabbatical from Rockstar Games on September 1st of that year, and only 2 weeks shy of GTA 5's first year anniversary. It's likely this was during Benzies' final time at Rockstar Games proper, since it would eventually come out that he had left the company in 2016, and he would spend the next several years in a legal battle against his former employer. It's hard not to wonder what might have happened if Benzies had been able to stay, since, as he mentions, and many of us already knew, there was at one time plans for a GTA 5 DLC or something like that. Rumors suggest that the contract DLC we got for Franklin, and likely the last Dose missions as well, were what eventually became of these single-player DLC ideas, though I'm not sure there's any hard evidence to support this idea, it's merely what I believe to be the case. One thing's for certain, even without Benzies, they definitely stuck to the idea of GTA Online is the focus right now, and as far as we can tell that remained true for a very long time, and arguably may still be true to a certain extent. The article goes on to speculate that the game would be based in Liberty City. Well, actually they say New York, which is odd, but it provides no source for where this rumor came from, or if it had any legitimacy. However, given what we would eventually learn from the leaks about the Project America that GTA 6 has apparently evolved out of, it's not outside the realm of possibility that even all the way back in 2014, they were planning the initial stages of development for what would become the next game, and even considered returning to Liberty City, or as the article puts it, New York. Here's another article from just 10 days after the last one on July 18th, 2014. It appears that this one was written based on the same interview cited in the first article that Leslie Benzies gave to Develop Magazine. I actually tracked down the article they're both referencing, and it's from October 3rd of 2013, about a month after GTA 5's release. Before we get to the actual interview though, this article starts to get to some more specific speculation that is a bit humorous in hindsight with what we know after the leaks earlier this year in 2023. Quote, Fuse Joplin reported that the launch for GTA 6 will most likely be in June of 2017 for the Windows PC, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4 versions. Rumors say that it will be called Return to Vice City. Rockstar has not confirmed any of these rumors yet. However, in an update about the possible release date for Grand Theft Auto 6, a Rockstar employee denied the rumor. According to K-Drama Stars, the Rockstar employee took to Reddit and debunked the rumor that June 2017 will be the release date for GTA 6. The Rockstar employee further added that Rockstar is working on a different game right now. Now, none of that should be particularly surprising, they are just trying to get clicks after all, but I find it funny that they bring up a completely baseless rumor as though it were fact, only to tell you in the next sentence that no, actually that information has already been discredited. Then again, it isn't unheard of for companies to deny what they're working on even when they're actually working on it, until they're ready to properly announce it. Given what we do know happened though, who knows if there was ever any truth to this claim at all. Somehow I don't think they ever planned to even attempt a 2017 release, but we might never know for certain. Anyway, let's take a look at the actual interview that spawned both of these articles. Howdy y'all, Guinness Walker here. For those who missed the community post, I know this isn't the kind of content that many of my longtime subscribers have been hoping for, but worry not. I am still going to make 100% sure that I finish the current season of GTA biographies, but it may take the rest of this year, as the season is going to be quite long compared to the 13-episode seasons 1 through 3. While some of you might think that I'm going full clickbait here, I am still trying to stick to my principle of making content that I would want to watch myself. So what better way to do that than to combine my typical documentarian approach to GTA and apply it to the real world? I hope you enjoy this dive into the lengthy history of rumors and speculation which surrounds what is sure to be one of the biggest games of all time.
This video is brought to you by my wonderful supporters over on Patreon. By supporting the channel for less than $2 American a month, you can get early access to videos, the ability to download episodes, and nearly 100 original music tracks, many of which are extended versions of the tracks that are on streaming services. A very special thank you to my executive producer tier patrons, Ezra Hambrick, Mason Colin, Aussie, Dicastinator, Chuck K45, and Miles Garrett. All of you are amazing, and your support is something I truly can't express my gratitude for fully. Thank you so much. Today's episode is sponsored in part by my executive producers Ezra Hambrick, Mason Colin, Chuck K45, and Dicastinator. You can check out Ezra's YouTube channel, Scott Games 99, where they play games such as NHL and MLB, and story-based games like the Red Dead Redemption series, with plenty more story-based games to come soon. Mason Cullen's podcast channel, We're About Everything, where they discuss, well, everything from zombie apocalypses to game remasters and more. Chuck K45's channel, who's working on setting up a channel all about buying farm equipment and fixing it up, and then starting a new farm from scratch, and Dicastinator's channel, where they examine, review, and discuss all things diecast, from the history of the hobby to rare models, and much more, with new videos basically every day, in addition to buying and selling and trading the diecast cars. All links in the description, and a very big thank you to all of my patrons. Your support is literally helping me to keep the lights on, so from the bottom of my little black heart, thank you all so very much. Support the channel by showing my executive producers some love, or sign up yourself today. And now, back to the video.
Now, this article is actually part 1 of 4. In part 1, they interview Leslie Benzies, as we'll get into, but in part 2, they speak to the then studio director Andy Semple. In part 3, they speak to the technical director and assistant technical director for GTA 5, Adam Fowler and Phil Hooker, and in part 4, they speak to art director Aaron Garrett, who is probably number 4 on the list of people responsible for the GTA series' identity, just after Benzies and the Hauser brothers. So I recommend taking a look at all 4 interviews yourself if you want a glimpse into what Rockstar looked like 10 years ago. By the end of this series, I expect we'll have a better understanding of just how the company has evolved in the last decade, and maybe even what that might mean for the next entry in the series. All that being said, I'm going to go through the article verbatim. Links to all 4 parts are in the description, along with links to all the other articles shown in this video. Leslie Benzies had always dreamt of being a rock star. But a talent in coding led him to not headline Glastonbury, but to secure a job on a bigger global stage. He started as a coder at DMA Design, then the man running the GTA 3 team, and now, fittingly, a rock star, president of its prized North Studio in Edinburgh. Today, Benzies is one of the 4-piece present when a Grand Theft Auto was initially conceived. It's him who sits down with his partners at Rockstar Games, co-founders Sam and Dan Hauser, plus Rockstar North art lead Aaron Garrett to flesh out the initial idea. While Rockstar hit the big time, the core process remained unchanged game after game. It's part of the reason why these blockbusters have kept their flavor through each installment. For GTA 5, that discussion started as GTA 4 was wrapping up almost 5 years ago, although the latest game has been in full production for just 3 years. It comes from the idea first, Benzies tells us in his office at the studio. Where is it going to be set is the first question. Then that defines the missions. You're doing different things in LA than in New York or Miami. The map and story get worked up together, and the story is a basic flow of how it works out, so you can layer the missions in. For this one, we were down in London and the idea of the 3 characters popped up again. We'd actually considered it for San Andreas because there were 3 different cities, but it didn't work from a tech point of view because the 3 characters needed 3 times as much memory, 3 types of animations, and so on. We throw stuff in the pot and the good stuff stays and the bad stuff disappears. There are a lot of gatekeepers at the studio who ensure that not much of the chaff makes it through. Some of the good ideas, like the 3 characters, stick around. Everyone likens GTA to the movies by virtue of its cinematic qualities, but Benzies tells us it isn't a movie, it's more like an album. Each GTA is produced by the same set of lead band members, visionaries, auteurs, extremists, who are in turn supported by some of the best technicians in the business. When Benzies recounts the GTA story briefly, it almost sounds like a poetic rock and roll blur. The studio was formed in Edinburgh after Rockstar Games bought DMA Design, built as a team dedicated to making GTA 3. The game was taking the series into unknown 3D open-world territory with a vividly interactive city to seamlessly explore. We all know the broad strokes of what happened next. A global phenomenon, a super franchise with a string of lucrative sequels, a studio with the most enviable hit machine reputation on the planet. But it didn't seem like success was assured at one point, says Benzies. GTA 3 was good, but it was unexpected. Being able to actually make it was a bit of a shock to us. The fact that it all works and was good fun was a surprise. A lot of people in the studio at the time said we couldn't do it. Vice City swiftly followed, published just a year later. It was over so quickly, recalls Benzies. It was a 9-month production. Forget the experience, it just happened. We were on such a high from 3, we just ran through it. San Andreas came next. It was the most successful single-platform game ever, and the most praised. It was good. It combined all the stuff we had done so far. It felt the most cohesive, and the scale was huge, says Benzies. Then GTA 4. GTA 4 was dark times, Benzies confided, switching tone. We'd been hot coffeed. We were thinking, we make video games, and the US authorities are doing this to us? Meanwhile, the transition to the then next generation meant calling in help from other Rockstar studios to help finish the PS3 version of the game. Rockstar North rose to the challenge though, and GTA 4 was another smash hit, another commercial juggernaut. Our darkness showed in GTA 4, and we realized that, says Benzies. So the DLC lightened it up a little bit. Gay Tony especially was more flamboyant and bigger. The expansion added more energy. Each signature Rockstar North game has been a reflection of its team's emotions and experiences, an innovative debut, a swift follow-up, a third game gorging on excess, then a difficult fourth album, and so on. Yes, it is a reflection of us, like music, says Benzies, or a book or a film. For some of us, parts are more reflective than others, maybe. GTA 4's saga of two brothers who move to America and clash head-on with its agonizing culture might speak to how Sam and Dan Houser felt as GTA came under fire, perhaps. Letting the games do the talking like this is partly why Rockstar's prize studio has a bit of a mystique. Although the studio has done more interviews and press this year than ever, Develop's intrusion into the studio, they never actually let press visit, is a rarity. But really, the team is just too busy making its creation to be on constant PR trail for it, says Benzies. The game always comes first, he says. The dream of screaming fans at Wembley when playing in a band during his youth is one thing, but Benzies doesn't seem to be in a job for personal media exposure. And anyway, Dan does a lot of it because he's funny and articulate. We're not. We write the other story, the code story. It's almost humble to the point of stubbornness. As the creators of the world's most prominent, most adored, most notorious game franchise, we expect or demand some arrogance. But there is none when Develop visits Rockstar North. It's early August and the game is nearly done, and the studio is peaceful but busy. There's a monitor on every desk with GTA 5 running, Benzies' office has 3 of them on the go, plus a fast-moving screen tracking the proprietary Bugstar QA tech that the studio uses. As many people in the studio as possible are playing and checking the game when we visit. There are rehearsals, if you will, before the game takes to the stage, before GTA 5 is handed over to the tens of millions of people that bought the game in the first 24 hours on sale. Rockstar North dedicates an almost unnatural level of time to the details, and refines the gameplay experience constantly. I don't know if people know this or not, but there's a huge amount of psychology behind the entire thing, says Benzies. We don't just go, here's a mission, off you go. We spend a lot of time, make a lot of graphs, and work out how difficult something is, what the reward is, how you might be feeling after that mission. Those efforts have shown in the work itself, and the results, be that revenue or plaudits. Rockstar North hasn't had 2 encores, but 3, 4, 5, and while GTA has stayed successful and of its type, the game's market has changed around it dramatically. Lowercase r Rockstars are a dying breed. Does Benzies ever have any concern that all the success may fade? Or that the console business, where most of the North's success lies, is vanishing? Of course we think about it, but you have to just rein it and back in. More humility and more focus on the end result. Benzies says there is one hunger that will never vanish amongst the world's consumers, a demand for quality entertainment. People want to be entertained. Just look at TV, Game of Thrones, people loved it. It's good, but not brilliant. But to some people, it's the only thing on TV. Same goes when you're sat on your iPhone twiddling around looking for apps, and there's a lot of rubbish on there. And they've stopped taking risks in Hollywood. Just look at film now, a lot of it's mediocre because they've stopped taking risks. Benzies says that the launch period for the GTA games are so enjoyable because the team gets to see how involved the audience gets. The excitement I would get when I buy a new album from my favorite band and then place the speakers at either side of my head and have it blast into my ears, that's the enjoyment I hope others get. To be immersed and to help people indulge in that escapism, that's what I look forward to. Rockstar North, and Rockstar Games in general, has always fought for a level of autonomy and freedom from its owner Take-Two. The studio sets its schedule. Whatever is right to make the game we want to make, says Benzies. It's something that we point out is different from pretty much every other publisher-owned games team. We will never ever go, ooh, there's an avenue for revenue. If any of us say that, we'll do something else. Everyone here, we sat at home aged 11 playing these games obsessively. We dreamt about making them. And here we are. I do this every day and it's my job. A dream job. Rockstar's virtual independence, he adds, is what gives it the freedom to spend so long on polishing its games. That last 5 to 10% of work on the game makes a huge difference. This level of perfection is not seen or understood in the majority of the industry. We can all make a car drive down a street in a game, but can you do it in style? Everyone's got characters that are walking around, but can they walk? We won't be doing this every year in a cycle. A year just isn't long enough to do this job. It might have been on the old consoles, but not on this. There's some interfacing with publisher types, but only to inform Rockstar's bigger decisions. There's no production by accounting here. Obviously, money is in there somewhere. There's a guy who tells us our download stuff makes this much and our disc stuff makes this much, but that's the depth of it. That helps us decide if we'll do download packs to re-release on disc. But really, we'll make it what we want. No wait, don't print that. We'll make what people want, and that's the truth. What happens now that GTA 5 is finished? GTA Online. The innovative new mode, debuting weeks after the main game, is being released as we go to the press. If the game is an album, Online takes the music on tour. Benzies said the studio will be reorganized to support it, with a core team operating online. Some staff will take well-earned holidays, others will carry on with other work. And when will Benzies, the Hausers, and Garrett reform to talk GTA 6? Is there even a GTA 6 yet? We've got about 45 years worth of ideas we want to do, Benzies laughs. We don't know what GTA 6 will be, but we've got some ideas. GTA Online is the focus right now. There ain't no rest between finishing 5 and then Online. Plus we have some other stuff, DLC, I don't know how to describe it exactly, that we'd like to do, and we'll pick the right ones. There seems little doubt that when the team gets ready to storm the stage again, our history will repeat itself. Well, that's all we're going to cover for today's video, but the plan is to go through chronologically everything up to the release of the game, or at least until I catch up with the present. Whichever comes first, but let's be honest, it probably won't be the game. Anyway, I'll see you next week for another episode of GTA Biographies, and after that, you should see another part of, well, this new series thing. Then again, it is me, and those of you who have come to know me and my ways on YouTube know exactly what I mean. I'm Guinness Walker, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching.